A warm welcome to Iron Africa. I'm Rochelle Ferguson BI. These are the top stories on the continent. Tensions remain high in Cameroon's English-speaking southwest and northwest regions. This ahead of pro-independence protests scheduled for Sunday. We bring you the very latest with our correspondent on the ground. As the UN warns 3 million children across northeast Nigeria are out of education owing to violence, we speak to Zannah Mustapha, winner of this year's Nansen Refugee Award. He's putting his best foot forward to educate displaced children. And getting up close and personal with cheeky primates, residents in Ghana's Volta region make monkeys part of an eco-tourist attraction, something which benefits everyone. We begin in the predominantly English-speaking southwest and northwest regions of Cameroon, where tensions are high tonight ahead of demonstrations scheduled for Sunday. Now, October 1st is the date chosen by separatists to demand independence for the country's Anglophone regions. Authorities have meanwhile banned public gatherings and imposed a curfew. Nearly 1,000 police and security officers have been deployed to those regions. Our correspondent Zigoto Chaya reports.
A
firm decision by authorities of the southwest region closing Cameroon's border with Nigeria for 48 hours. This is in response to a call by West Cameroonians for the restoration of their statehood come October 1st, 2017. This order also banned intercity transportation, the gathering of more than 4 people in public locations, and also all port activities during that same period. This move by the government also came up as a result of an escalation as well as a crackdown on months of protests spurred by anger on the economic and political discrimination in West Cameroon. This is now a new challenge to the Cameroonian government, and the United Nations Secretary General this Thursday urged the Cameroonian government to listen to the problems of the English speakers. He again added that the country needs unity and its territorial integrity, and that the two parties should see how they can go about it in such a way that they will not lead into any tension as well as any war.
In other news, the UN has warned that 3 million children are out of education in northeast Nigeria, where more than half of schools are closed due to violence sparked by Boko Haram. Well, since 2009, 1,400 schools have been destroyed and thousands of teachers have been killed or displaced. UNICEF's Deputy Executive Director had this to say.
Borno State, over half the schools have been destroyed in the conflict. Thousands of teachers have been killed, so we've got to help the children get back learning, get back to school, and that's as important as the life-saving work we're doing on health and malnutrition.
Well, speaking of learning, one man helping to improve education in northeast Nigeria is lawyer and mediator Zannah Mustapha. This month, he won the UN's Nansen Refugee Award for providing education to children who've been uprooted by violence. He prides himself on teaching both orphans and the children of Boko Haram fighters. Earlier, he told me why reaching all young people is vital.
The primary aim was to educate orphans. And when we got these orphans, we don't mind from which side of the divide this comes from, whether they are of the Boko Haram insurgency or of the security agency, or those that are caught up in between the two. So we now started admitting them based on being children, not minding whether they are Boko Haram children or they are of the security agencies or any other person. So that was the primary aim, was to admit them, and that was how we admit them.
Analysts say that Nigeria's recent economic growth suggests the country is slowly navigating its way out of a recession. It's hoped that that could be the start of a permanent turnaround. Experts say that growth is due to oil production, which is once again stable. Our correspondent sent us this report from Lagos.
Despite Nigeria's economy showing signs of recovery, this entrepreneur remains a little cautious. His logistics company works with the energy industry. Yet, with Nigeria crude oil production back up to more than 1.5 million barrels per day, his workload hasn't increased.
The oil companies will just maintain what they have and be able to produce from existing fields. So things will pick up because some of those old pipes have to be replaced, some of those old valves have to be replaced, some of those old compression stations have to be rehabilitated.
At the Lagos Stock Exchange, these traders are optimistic about the upturn in the oil business. Foreign exchange reserves are improving and the Nigerian naira is doing well against the dollar and the euro. In 2016, revenues generated on the stock exchange had decreased by 31%, but since May, the stocks are up.
We expect a lot of activities, a lot of spending, and like I noticed in the market, most people are selling to meet up one needs or the other. I think the market is still there with transparency, good corporate governance, and people following the rules. We will see the benefit getting to everybody.
Many small and medium-sized businesses are once again making a profit. Fred Ajuzi is an import-export consultant. His company transports containers from the port of Lagos to client warehouses. After 30 years in the freight business, he supports the government's plans to diversify the Nigerian economy.
For the first 1 year, it wasn't easy because they put the new government there with their new policy. We could not be able to really understand it. But now we're in 2017, we are key into their policies and things start improving.
Based on a 3-year stimulus package, Nigeria aims to grow its economy by 5% by 2020.
Away from Nigeria, an orthopaedic technician in Uganda has come up with a way to give people living with disability access to cheaper prosthetic limbs. Julius Gabula makes the artificial limbs using recycled plastics and a range of other unlikely materials. France 24's Nicolas Germain has this report.
This Kampala workshop specialises in making prosthetic limbs. Julius Gabula uses recycled plastic and other materials to make affordable artificial arms and legs. Here they cost between $200 and $1,300. Similar ones by established manufacturers cost twice as much.
We rehabilitate them to the extent that they are able to move in a similar way they were moving. However, it is not possible to go back to what God made at first.
Alan lost his leg in an accident. When he has crutches instead of an artificial leg, life is much more complicated.
Like taxis, if they find you with clutches, they'll bypass you because they know that you're going to take a lot of time to enter the taxi.
Esther is one of the 150 people who use Gabulu's prosthetic limbs.
I thought my life had ended when I lost my leg, but this artificial limb has been very helpful. I didn't know about artificial limbs and I thought I'd have to crawl all my life. After I received training on how to use it, I'm now able to work normally.
Gabula is now planning to open another workshop in western Uganda. He will cater for victims of war from neighbouring Congo.
We're head next to Ghana's Volta region, where monkeys have long since been considered sacred. Today's residents have turned that reverence into revenue by making the cheeky primates part of an eco-tourist attraction benefiting both animals and the locals. Well, the money earned has helped to build a health clinic and renovate school buildings. Clement Bonnereau has the details.
Meet the Mona monkeys. They were considered sacred for centuries before Christianity spread to Western Africa in the early 1900s. Trees were cut down and monkeys were killed in an effort to root out traditional beliefs. Today, the area around the village of Tafiatome in Ghana has become a sanctuary where monkeys live alongside humans in harmony.
We take good care of the monkeys. They visit us in our homes and we feed them. We give them bananas, maize and other things. Even though we're different creatures, we treat them like our own children. They're not scared of us.
The sanctuary attracts thousands of tourists every year. Many stay in the village to learn about rural life and play with the cheeky primates. The manager of the sanctuary says profits go back directly to the community.
With the introduction of tourism, many of the children have gained sponsorship support to go through education. And yes, the monies that come into the community, are spent here for the benefit of the people of Tafi.
The money earned has helped to build a health clinic, pave roads and renovate school buildings. The World Bank says international tourists to Ghana could number as many as 1.3 million this year.
Well, that's where we leave this edition. You are up to date. More international headlines coming right up. Stay tuned. You're watching France 24.